Welcome to the SafeSimpleSound podcast, where our constitutional approach to financial planning creates both strong foundations and opportunities for growth for the families we serve. I'm speaking with you today, drawing from our team's chartered financial consultant background and our S3 framework development. In today's episode, we're exploring a foundational topic from our recent blog post: What are asset classes? The Beginner's Guide to Building a Stronger Portfolio. We're exploring the common challenge of feeling overwhelmed by financial jargon, that sense that you're trying to read a language you don't speak. This is the same topic we recently wrote about because we believe that true financial empowerment begins with absolute clarity on the fundamentals. Whether you're just starting your investment journey or you've been investing for years but have always felt a little uncertain about the basics, this episode will give you a powerful and simple framework for understanding your investments. We'll do this through our S3 approach to building a portfolio that is safe, simple, and sound. At SafeSimpleSound, we often begin conversations with families who are incredibly successful in their careers and personal lives, yet they express a deep sense of confusion when it comes to their own financial portfolios. It's a common challenge. They'll say things like, "I keep hearing terms like stocks, bonds, and diversification, but it all feels so complex, so abstract." This feeling is a signal. It's a signal that the financial world has for too long relied on complexity and jargon, creating a barrier between people and their own money. Our first constitutional principle at Safe Simple Sound is to tear down that barrier. From a Safe Simple Sound perspective, financial well-being is built on clarity, not confusion. The traditional limitation many people face is an either-or dilemma. They feel they either have to become a stock-picking expert, spending hours researching individual companies, or they have to completely hand over control and hope for the best, never truly understanding what's happening with their life savings. Our S3 framework offers a both-and solution. We believe you can both have a sophisticated, effective investment strategy and understand it in a simple, intuitive way. This isn't about memorizing 1,000 different stock tickers. It's about understanding the architectural principles behind a strong financial structure. To make this simple, we want you to picture something you probably haven't thought about in a while: a big box of Lego bricks. If you were tasked with building an impressive Lego castle, you wouldn't just dump the box on the floor and start sticking random pieces together. You'd instinctively start sorting. You'd put the big, flat base plates in one pile, the standard red and blue bricks in another. The unique, decorative pieces like flags and turret tops would go in their own little group. Why do you do this? Because you know that each type of brick has a specific job. The base plates provide the foundation. The standard bricks build the walls. The special pieces add the detail and character. This is the exact same logic we apply to building a sound financial portfolio. Asset classes are simply the financial equivalent of those sorted Lego bricks. Let's establish a firm foundation here. What is an asset class? From a simple perspective, an asset class is just a group of investments that share similar characteristics. They behave in similar ways in the market and are generally governed by the same rules. Think about our Legos again. All the red 2x4 bricks are basically the same. They serve the same function. In the financial world, all large company U.S. stocks, for example, tend to have comparable risk and return profiles. They often react in similar ways to big economic news, like a change in interest rates. This is where the safe element of our framework comes in. By thinking in these broad categories, we create psychological safety. Instead of being overwhelmed by the thousands of individual investments you could choose from, every single stock, bond, and fund out there, you can simplify your focus to just a few key categories. It's the difference between trying to count every grain of sand on the beach and simply recognizing that you are standing on a beach. This is one of the most powerful financial planning basics you can master. This isn't just an academic exercise, it's directly connected to the two most important factors in investing: managing risk and achieving growth. Each asset class, like each type of Lego brick, has a distinct personality. Some are built for growth. These are your tall, spire-shaped Lego pieces. In the financial world, these are typically stocks, or what we call equities. They have the potential for significant growth to make your castle taller and more impressive. But as you know, a tall, thin spire can be wobbly. It's more volatile. Some are built for stability. These are your wide, flat Lego base plates. These are your bonds, or what we call fixed income. They provide a sturdy, predictable foundation. They don't reach for the sky, but they prevent your entire structure from toppling over when the table gets bumped. And finally, some are built for safety and flexibility. This is the pile of extra bricks you keep right next to your project. This is cash and its equivalents. It doesn't really add to the structure itself. It won't build a tower, but it's immediately available when you need to make a quick repair, add a new section, or grab a piece you didn't realize you needed. From a sound constitutional perspective, the magic happens when you combine them with intention. A portfolio built only from high-growth spire pieces is a recipe for anxiety. It's likely to be a very unstable structure. On the other hand, a portfolio made only of base plate bonds will be secure, but it will never grow to its full potential. By understanding the distinct role each asset class plays, you can assemble them strategically. You can build a portfolio that is both strong and has the potential to grow over time. This is the very foundation of a sound investment strategy. It's about building a balanced, resilient structure designed to stand the test of time. To illustrate this constitutional principle of building with intention, let me share a hypothetical scenario that demonstrates how this shift in thinking can bring incredible clarity. Consider this hypothetical situation, featuring a fictional family we'll call the Millers. The Millers are in their late 40s, both successful in their careers and diligent savers. But when they looked at their investment statements, they just saw a long list of names and numbers. They had a 401 from a previous job, a current 401, a brokerage account they'd funded based on a few articles they read, and an old IRA. It was a random collection of investments, a financial junk drawer. In our Lego analogy, it was like a giant pile of unsorted bricks. They felt anxious and uncertain, even though they had saved a significant amount. When they began working with our SafeSimpleSound practice, we didn't start by talking about whether Company X was a good stock. We started with the Legos. We helped them see their financial world not as a confusing pile, but as three distinct buckets. First, we looked at the equities bucket, the engine of growth. We identified all the stocks and stock funds they owned. These were the colorful, varied pieces, the spires, the windows, the dynamic parts of their castle. The Millers realized a large portion of their portfolio was here, which explained why its value could swing so dramatically month to month. This wasn't bad, it just needed a strong foundation. Next, we identified the fixed income bucket, the foundation of stability. We found a few bond funds hidden inside their 401s. We explained that these were their base plates. When you buy a bond, you're essentially lending money to a government or a corporation. In return, they promise to pay you back with interest. It's predictable and steady. The Millers saw that they had very few of these foundational pieces compared to the more volatile spire pieces. Finally, we looked at the cash and cash equivalents bucket, the safety net. This was their emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. We framed this as their pile of spare bricks, ready at a moment's notice for an unexpected expense or a unique opportunity, providing them with liquidity and peace of mind. While this story is fictional, it demonstrates how our constitutional framework can transform a feeling of chaos into one of order and control. The Millers' investments didn't magically change overnight. What changed was their understanding. They stopped seeing a random list of names and started seeing a structure. Through this educational example, you can see how constitutional thinking applies. The pattern we observe is that once families have this simple three-bucket framework, their questions change. Instead of asking, should I buy or sell this hot stock? They start asking architectural questions. Based on our goal of retiring in 15 years, is our foundation of bonds strong enough to support our goals for growth from stocks? Or is our cash reserve sufficient for our short-term needs? These are much more powerful, more sound questions. Whether you're facing this exact scenario with multiple accounts or you're just starting with your first investment, this S3 thinking applies. You can begin to build your financial blueprint. You start with the big picture, the foundation, the walls, the towers, before you ever worry about the color of a single brick on top. This ensures your portfolio is intentionally designed to meet your personal goals, rather than being a random collection of investments you heard about from a friend or a talking head on TV. Let's summarize the key constitutional insights we've covered today. First, the feeling of being overwhelmed by financial jargon is a common challenge, but it can be overcome with a simple, powerful framework. The Safe Simple Sound solution is to stop focusing on individual investments and start thinking like an architect. Second, asset classes are the fundamental portfolio building blocks. We use the Lego analogy to make this tangible. Equities or stocks are your growth pieces, the towers and spires. Fixed income or bonds are your stability pieces, the solid foundation. And cash is your safety and liquidity reserve, the pile of spare bricks ready for anything. And third, this shift in perspective empowers you to ask better questions. You move from being a speculator picking individual bricks to being a strategist designing a blueprint for your entire financial structure. This is the essence of a sound approach. It provides stability and intentionality for your financial life. So, what is a practical next step you can take after listening to this episode? The implementation guidance is simple and safe. It's not to go out and make drastic changes. It's simply to look at what you already have through this new lens. Pull up your 401k or brokerage account statement. Can you begin to sort your investments into these three core buckets: equities, fixed income, and cash? Just the act of categorizing what you own is an incredibly empowering first step toward clarity. This episode draws from our recent blog post, What Are Asset Classes? The Beginner's Guide to Building a Stronger Portfolio, which you can find at SafeSimpleSound.com for the complete written framework. Through our S3 approach development, we've created a foundational guide that goes even deeper into these concepts. If today's S3 insights resonate with your family's situation, we invite you to explore what constitutional financial planning could look like through our Safe Simple Sound practice. Either way, you're now equipped with the constitutional capability to see through financial jargon and understand the fundamental structure of your investments. This will serve you for the rest of your life, whether you engage with our practice or not. You now have the blueprint to turn a random pile of financial bricks into a strong, intentional castle built for your future. Thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to you next time.